Welcome back after the break.
Texas High School included Baylor and Texas A&M as the two teams in Texas now. So Texas has gone from number 1 to number 3 in their own state.
And then you're going to throw Texas Tech in there in the next couple of years.
Texas Tech's coming on up.
I'm telling you, Charlie Strong,
he's got his hands full.
He closed practices off where the media can't come to spring practice. He did that at Louisville and made a lot of people mad.
Well, he's going to do it at Texas, and you don't need to make anybody mad out in Texas.
I mean, nobody can come to practice. None of the boosters, media. What?
You don't push the boosters out.
That's who pays you, Charlie Strong.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, in Texas is like this high school
Mecca.
Exactly. I mean, every Friday night in Texas, you can see just millions of lights on with all these high school games. If you're flying over Texas, most of the lights are from football games. And Charlie Strong's going to have his hands full, and I think they've got him picked as a 10-win team.
No, not Texas.
No, not Texas. Good.
No, I don't think Texas will make it to 10 wins personally. I think they're going to struggle to finish third or maybe even fourth in the Big 12.
Exactly, and probably fourth in Texas.
Yeah, probably fourth.
Yeah,
you're right.
Because I mean, these other teams, they're loading up, and they're not scared of Texas anymore.
Well,
nobody is.
I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me. I can't remember if Texas Tech beat Texas last year. If they didn't, it was a close game. But their quarterback was a freshman, true freshman, and Texas Tech was, and so they're not losing much.
No.
Baylor is not losing anything.
Nope.
Oklahoma.
Shoot, they're building, and they didn't lose many.
And then you got Oklahoma State.
And I look for Oklahoma State to beat Florida State. I'm looking forward to that ball game. And then isn't that the first game of the season for them?
Yeah, in
yes,
Dallas.
I mean, good grief. Let's get this ball rolling. Oklahoma State and Florida State. Now, I give kudos to both those teams because those are make or break. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, you lose that first game, it's not the end of the world. It's better to lose a game at the first of the season as opposed to at the end of the season.
Yeah. And
so you kind of get to gauge your team by that first game. And I like the fact that people jump in there and play a big game. I mean, see what you got. See where you got to go. See what you need.
Well, another thing is another team that's in the Big 12 that is ranked to start the season is Kansas State.
And they've had
Texas is. I don't think Texas is ranked. They may be. I can't remember. But
I don't think they are. And Kansas State, they have semi-good recruiting years every year. You got a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked him. And they'll play ball with you. I think they run a hurry up, a slow down. But they'll throw everything at you. And I hope they have a good year.
But like you mentioned earlier, Charlie Strong keeping everybody away from practice.
That can't be going over good in Texas.
No.
I mean, if he don't watch out, he could be like one of those one-year coaches.
Yeah. And as far as 10-win teams, there's a story out on Bleacher Report. This is their pick for teams that will have 10 wins next year. Alabama's one of them. Baylor, the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns.
I don't like that team.
The Marshall Thundering Herd, Florida State.
And I think that's kind of iffy.
I do too, with Notre Dame and
Oklahoma State. Miami, they don't mention Florida.
They don't mention Florida in that.
As being somebody that might upset them, but hey, Florida's on the rebuild. Will Muschamp's got a lot riding on his shoulders this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to let Will Muschamp keep having the years he's had and stay down there.
No. And lastly, but not least, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, well, of course, they'll probably be a 13-win season. I mean,
Well, they've also listed on here like their wins that the teams that they think is just that Ohio State's gonna play that's just gonna be a walkover. So this is Ohio State's walkover wins for next year. Kent State, Rutgers, Illinois, and Indiana. I'll have to agree with that.
Oh, yes.
And their losable games, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Navy, and it's in Baltimore.
And that's to start the season.
That's to start the season. At Penn State, at Michigan State, at Minnesota, and Michigan at home.
Hey, I think they'll probably lose 3 of those 5.
It's going to be tough. I mean, last year, basically, their offense was Carlos Hyde and Braxton Miller.
That's all they had.
Well, Hyde's gone. So we'll see.
And the quarterback doesn't win it by himself.
No. Let's just go back to Marshall. This is who's picked to be their walkover wins. Miami of Ohio, Rhode Island, Florida International, Southern Miss, and UAB. I guess I can agree with those. Our Middle Tennessee State, Rice, and Western Kentucky are listed as their losable games. Let's go back and see who. Let's just go see who Alabama. Their winnable walkover wins: Florida Atlantic, Southern Miss, Arkansas, at Tennessee, and Western Carolina. That Tennessee game is going to be tougher than I think they're giving them credit for, but I still think Alabama.
They have the early signee too that's going to make a difference with Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I think this wide receiver they've got, this Josh Malone, and some other ball players I was reading about. Tennessee's ready to play football again. Tennessee's tired of being in the doldrums.
Their losable games for Alabama, according to Bleacher Report, at Ole Miss, at LSU, and Auburn. So I don't think they would lose all 3 of those games. They probably won't lose any of them, but I'm going to say between those 3, LSU and Auburn would be the 2 that I would think they might have a chance of losing to.
I don't think Ole Miss is going to give us any problem.
I don't either.
And I would expect LSU and Auburn to play us like they play us.
Mm-hmm.
I want those games.
Yeah. Just imagine, and it could be possible that Alabama and Auburn come into that Iron Bowl ranked number 1 and 2 in the nation.
I'd love that.
Oh,
I tell you, I would.
That might top this past year's Iron Bowl.
I tell you.
Then we got Baylor. Their walkover wins: SMU, Northwestern State, at Buffalo, TCU, and Kansas. So I think they'll win all those games.
I do too.
Then their losable games: at Texas, which I don't think they'll lose that game. At Oklahoma, that's going to be a tough one.
That'll be a good one.
Oklahoma State and Texas Tech.
And Texas Tech's on the rise. You know, they've got that quarterback coming back, like you said. And Texas Tech, I mean, they have some quarterbacks. They work on these quarterbacks, that fast-paced quarterback. You know, where we got Greg McElroy out of Texas Tech, took him away from them. And
well, their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, he's the guy. He was Texas A&M's offensive coordinator a couple of years ago. He was also the quarterbacks coach at Texas Houston under.
Back when they had that high-powered offense.
Back when they had the high-powered offense.
Yes,
Texas A&M's coach. I was just
didn't that coach go Kevin Sumlin?
Yeah, Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Just lost my mind for a minute. But yeah, he was the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M and under and at Houston
under Sumlin, and they were high-powered that year.
Broke all kind of records.
Keenan.
Yeah, Case Keenum.
Yeah, Case Keenum was the quarterback, and I think he's at
he's with the Texans.
Jets.
No, he's with the Texans.
He's with the Texans. Mm-hmm. Okay.
He took Matt Shaw's place when Matt Shaw kept throwing touchdowns to the other team.
Yeah, that's right. Alabama had. The Jets had that other quarterback. I think he came out of Wisconsin for a while.
Yeah, and then they got Geno Smith this year from West Virginia.
Yes, and we're still needing a quarterback.
Well, here we got Florida State. Their walkover wins: the Citadel, Wake Forest, Virginia, and Boston College. Losable games, like you said, Oklahoma State in Arlington, Texas, to open the season. Clemson, Notre Dame, at Louisville, and at Miami.
See, they're not even giving Florida credit for this year's game.
They're not a walkover win or a losable game.
Exactly. So I think Will Muschamp's got to do something this year.
That'll be the last game of the season, too. So
yes. And
he won't have any excuse unless half his team's hurt, I guess.
And a matter of fact, Florida's got an early signee that's down there getting ready, Jalen Tabor. And everything I've read about him, he's a game changer. And he'll be on the field. He'll be playing his freshman year this year. Florida needs him.
Florida's got a lot of. They had a good recruiting class last year. That Hargroves Jr. kid, the cornerback, this will probably be his last year at Florida. He'll be going pro next year.
Oh, yes, he will.
You never know, but that's the top 6 or the 6 teams that Bleacher Report thinks is going to have 10 wins before the season even starts. So,
well, I'd like to find out. We'll do a breakdown this year of each major conference, and we'll see what lines up with them.
Well, Jerry Sandusky's wife Dottie was on NBC Today Show with Matt Lauer for her first TV interview since her husband was arrested for the charges he got arrested with for the abusing and sexual assault of a bunch of kids. And of course she says he's innocent, claiming the victims were manipulated and that the case against Sandusky was built on lies. I think they were manipulated and they saw money, she said, and once their lawyers came into the case, they said there was money, so they pursued. And Jerry Sandusky, 70 years old, was sentenced to a 30 to 60-year prison sentence for his conviction in 2012 on 45 charges of sexual abuse of young boys over the period of 15 years. And she also said that she didn't believe he showered with kids. That was just a generation that he grew up in, and there was always people coming in and out of the shower.
That in itself is odd.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she was just blind, and you have one report, but that could be iffy. 45, no.
Yeah, in another interview with the Washington Post ran a story about her saying that predators like Sandusky tend to choose spouses who are weak and will help suppress any unpleasant ideas that might occur to them. Well, she says, I'm not a weak spouse. As you know, they call me Sarge because I kept everybody in line.
I think she's blind.
Well, that's, you see these politicians all the time getting in trouble for something, and their wives are standing right there beside them.
Yeah. I mean, they are taught to stand by them, but at the same time, very seldom do they come out and speak. They don't want their wife telling what they know in most instances.
If I ever got in any kind of trouble for something like that, they wouldn't have to worry about arresting me because my wife would have killed me.
Exactly.
So, Sandusky back in the news.
Well, that's sad, though. It really is sad.
That was just a bad situation for everybody in the Penn State and the kids. And
I hope all that, because Penn State's got great tradition. I don't even want to go into the Joe Paterno part of it. I've always thought the world of the man, but it's going to take a while for that blemish to get itself cleaned up. But I think Franklin's up there now. They're doing the best they can to get things started, and I'll be glad when it's all over.
Me too. Well,
we can hope that never happens again. Something I read this morning is Terry Francona, baseball coach. He's with the Cleveland Indians now, and somebody was comparing him to Saban, and he said he didn't know a whole lot about Saban, but he didn't want to get to talking because he didn't want the NCAA to put sanctions on him. And he doesn't have a button on his door, so that as soon as you walk in, he can close the door on you. And he said it with a laugh, but I want to read more of the story. But Saban's name, I tell you, I just love the man because he pops up in everything we talk about. The man is busy. But now what we want him to do is work on that 10-second defense.
Well, just say you walk into a kid's house in California to recruit him, and you say, I'm Nick Saban. They're going to at least recognize the name.
Oh, yes.
Because the name's been out there.
Yes. And he's a class guy. I mean, he's likable, so... And I like that fact, but I love him being in the news all the time.
We'll be back with more in just a few minutes.
Hello, I'm Robert McKay, Mayor of Asheville, Alabama, and candidate for House Seat 30, covering North St. Clair and Southern Etowah County. I would love to represent you in this district. I'm a pro-business, and I believe in small government and less taxes. I can relate to all the people. I am a small business owner, drive a bus for the St. Clair school system, and can relate to all the working men and women in this district. I'm a strong believer in education. Educated people will enrich our economy. I ask for your support in the June 3rd Republican primary. Please visit my Facebook page at robertmckay.33449 for more information. This is a paid political advertisement by friends of Robert McKay. Thank you.
Mom, Dad, parenting is nothing but preparing our children for this journey called life. Hi, this is John Kroll from Big Oak Ranch. After nearly 40 years of raising 2,000 children, we've learned that the society we live in today is trying to rob our children of their future. Our job is to give them a future and a hope. Our children are counting on us to show them the way.
Learn about John Croyle's new book, The 2-Minute Drill to Manhood, by visiting bigoak.org/manhood.